Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate the great support of Miami University. Today is a very special day in Cradle history. We have one of our own coming home. I would ask that we conduct this as a press conference first and foremost. We're going to have a microphone for any questions from the media, and then there will be an opportunity to meet Coach afterwards, but we want to take care of our media responsibilities first and foremost. We'd like to thank the Voice of America Learning Center for their gracious hospitality. Anytime that we need them, they're there to serve us. And special thank you to Dean Mike Pratt, to Rod Nimps, and to Brad Farr for all of their support through the years. This is a wonderful place to gather folks, and we appreciate their service to us. I would ask again if you would if you've got any cell phones, turn them off or at least put them on quiet for right now. And I will, at this point, introduce the president of Miami University, Dr. David Hodge.
Well, good evening, everyone. And before I talk about our new coach, which I'm very, very excited to talk about, of course, Brad will talk more about these things, but we had the opportunity to be in Mobile with the team, which won the bowl and set the NC2A record, and I must say it's a spectacular accomplishment for Miami. It was also, I think, contributed greatly to the search that we had this year. We had incredible interest from across the country in coming to coach at Miami. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One, to say thank you to the young men on our team who worked so hard to make this possible. But secondly, it says a lot about Coach Treadwell. He emerged as the best candidate, and he emerged as the best candidate for several reasons. First and foremost, of course, he's one heck of a coach. And everybody says that. Everybody that we talked with has the most respect for him and his capabilities. But he said a couple of things during the interview that resonated with me personally as president of Miami in a very profound way. He talked about himself as a teacher. And he talked about that in the context of coaching in the MAC or even at Michigan State, where you don't necessarily get all of the five-star, highest rated players to come, but you succeed because you take the players who do come, who are good football players, and you work with them, you develop them, you mold them, you give them the chance to exceed in ways that they might not have anticipated. And there's something in the history of Miami about overachievement that I have found to be absolutely fascinating. And he expressed that then, I thought, in a very profound way, that this is what we want to do. We want students to come here. We want student athletes to come here and find a way to achieve things that they never believed would be possible. It's a really important and critical part of what we do. So I looked at that and I listened to the other things that he had to say, and here was a person who understood Miami. The second part that he talked about resonated. He said, I had a fantastic experience at Miami. Everything from the football experience to the classroom experience to the co-curricular experience was something I wouldn't have traded anything for. And he says, I want to be sure that this next generation of Miamians has exactly that same opportunity, that they have the Miami experience as we know it, this combination of things. And I have no doubt that he will be a leader, that he will be a successful coach, that he will reinforce all of those values that have made Miami special over all these years. So I can't tell you how thrilled I am as president of the university to welcome back to our fold one of our own who has succeeded so well, who has grown so much, and now comes back to give so greatly to his university. So it's now my pleasure to introduce a person who really led this search, and I can't thank him enough for what he has done to elevate this program over the last few years, our athletic director, Brad Bates.
Thank you, David. I want to welcome everyone that's here today. It's a great afternoon. You know, if you're very lucky in life, you get to work with or at an extraordinary university. You get to interact daily with exceptional scholars who happen to be outstanding athletes. and leaders, and oh, by the way, win championships and bowl games and set NCAA records that'll probably never be broken. You get to engage in decisions with people you genuinely respect and like. And most importantly, you get to work for an individual you greatly admire. I'm very fortunate to have all of these, and each variable exists because of the leadership of one man. I'm honored that David and Valerie Hodge are here to share in this special celebration today. Please join me in thanking the Hodges. The Miami University Athletic Department mission statement. Every day inspires every word in action for those of us that work at Miami. And the words say simply yet profoundly, the Miami University Athletics family develops champions with love and honor. With that overarching theme, let me welcome all of you to this historical event, firmly anchored in the mission of our department, as we introduce the newest leader to the Miami University Athletics family, an individual dedicated to our mission. But before we introduce Don, there are several people I would like to recognize and thank. First, we are honored to have Don's wife, Lola, his children, Blake, Spencer, and Whitney, his mother, and a whole lot of other Treadwells here. So let's please join me in welcoming back to Miami the Treadwell family. Representing our Board of Trustees is former Miami baseball student athlete, Don Crane. Where's Don? Thank you, Don, for being here. Mike already mentioned this, but special thanks to Regional Dean Mike Pratt and Rod Nimps and Brad Farr of the Voice of America Learning Center for all of their assistance at this event. Thank you so very much. There are two areas most vital to assisting in this year's search. First and foremost, the students on the team. President Hodge already alluded to them, especially the Leadership Council, who were our liaisons throughout the process and demonstrated great leadership as we met with them in those 16 days. Coming off their bowl game victory and a conference championship, there are a handful of members in the room. Please join me in thanking for all their leadership, members of our football team. And special thanks to our senior staff, particularly Jason Lenner, who made this process very smooth and effective. He is a tremendous administrator, colleague, leader, and friend who sacrificed his holidays to ensure that we hired the perfect leader for Miami football. A round of applause for a highly talented star, Jason Lenner. Thank you, Jason. On Wednesday night, December 15th, we learned we were losing our head coach. And after informing our team, we immediately began making calls literally that evening. And in the next 16 days, our process was thorough, meticulous, deliberate, and precise. The very first and most important step was for us to meet with the Leadership Council to get the team's perspective in developing a profile for our next head coach. We wanted them to help define the context and backdrop for us to match candidates' traits, personalities, and experiences. We then proceeded to do our homework, to identify the perfect fit for the profile our students helped us define. And for our research, we danced around the holidays, bowls, and NFL games, ultimately visiting, get this, with 24 athletic directors, 4 conference commissioners, 3 executive directors, 31 FBS head coaches, 5 NFL head coaches, 12 Miami alums who are leaders in the industry, 117 assistant coaches, and many members of our cradle of coaches. And we came down to one extraordinary man, Let me share with you some of the desirable characteristics and values our Leadership Council articulated to us at the beginning of the process that they sought in their next head coach. They told us they wanted someone who is not egotistical, but rather a disciplinarian who has a good relationship with his players on and off the field and is a man of integrity and enthusiasm. In his personal mission statement, Don Treadwell states, "My mission is to provide inspiration, instill discipline, and impart love. Discipline provides direction that forms good habits both on and off the field, and good habits form great character." The team said they wanted someone with a strong coaching background. Don has coached an FCS national championship team, worked in the MAC, Big East, Pac-10, Big Ten, and ACC. Our students indicated they wanted a great teacher with extensive knowledge of the game. Don has coached all facets of the offense, including receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, coordinating the passing game, and coordinating the offense. In addition, Don has served both sides of the ball as an assistant head coach and was the interim head coach of a Big Ten championship team. The team told us they wanted someone with great pedigree. Don has coached with Ohio State's Jim Tressel, North Carolina State's Tom O'Brien, Stanford's Tyrone Willingham, Michigan State's Mark D'Antonio, and perhaps best of all and appropriately, Miami University's Randy Walker. And finally, the team shrewdly asked that our next coach be knowledgeable about Miami's great and proud history, and be someone who's going to want to stay around for a long time. Our next head coach was a four-year starter at Miami University, still has a school record, 21.1 yards per catch average, earned all conference, was Miami's team captain, and coached at Miami in the early 1990s. I am honored to introduce to you the 34th head coach of Miami football, Miami University alum, Don Treadwell.
Please have a seat. Thank you so much, Brad, for that introduction. Let me just open by saying this. I believe that all men dream. I believe some men even pursue their dreams. And then there are those men that embrace their dreams and live their dream. Today, I stand as one of those men who is living their dream of being the head football coach at his alma mater, Miami University. What a beautiful day. I'd like to thank a couple of people, certainly, to make this possible. And I'd like to start with our president, Dr. Hodge. Thank you so much for your time in the process. And I'd like to thank Brad Bates, our athletic director. I believe Don of the board is here somewhere. I heard his name and I saw him. Don, thank you so much for each of you by your faith and belief in me as the next head football coach at Miami University. It means so much. While I'm on the thank you wagon there, it certainly would be appropriate to thank my lovely wife, Lola. I thank you so much for your unconditional love, and you have always been my rock, and you always will be. I'd like to thank my children that are here today, Whitney, Blake, and Spencer. Dad appreciates so much all the moves that you guys made over the many, many years, all right? With the faith, I know and hope that one day Dad would stand as a head football coach. So I so much appreciate that. My Mother is here today. Josie Treadwell, 84 years old. She made it here today to celebrate her only son with this opportunity. Mom, it's so nice to have you here. And my mother-in-law, Joni Penske, is here, and a host of others that are connected to the Treadwell and the maiden name Penske at that time family. So thank you guys for being here. I love each and every one of you. As we move forward, you know, there's probably some players I know that may have stopped by and were thinking about coming, but I wanted to make sure that, you know, I just took a minute to share and thank them. You know, one of the things I've had a chance to do is meet with our team on a couple of occasions already. And one of the things we talked about in the meeting was, you know, the ability when change occurs to recognize that change equals growth and growth equals change. And we talked about that for a little bit as a group. And I said, because the one thing you can count on in life is change. It's a constant. Some things are going to change. And we talked about that, and I said one of the things championship teams do, which is the kind of football team we are going to have here at Miami University, is they embrace the change. And we're going to do that. And we talked about how to do that, and we're all on that same page, and we're exciting as we move forward in talking about the change. One of the other things that I talked to the team about, Brad alluded to this, and I also shared this with President Hodge when he and I and Brad were talking about this position. I touched on the fact so many unique things are special about Miami to me. And I shared with them this. I said, because of my awesome experience here at Miami University as a student athlete, I said it will be my goal and my belief that every Miami football player who wears the red and white deserves an experience that captures his heart, just like the one I did, just like the one I did. So it will be my goal that every Miami football player can look back after his career 4 to 5 years down the road and be able to say, you know what, that was the best 4 or 5 years of my life being connected to Miami University. So very special place, as you can imagine, as we talk. And I think Dr. Hodge alluded to this also. That experience was not just kept on the football field. It extended into the academic community as well. And to make that experience special, I think sometimes, you know, I thought about it in terms of Miami, at least when I was in school here, one of the best kept secrets about the faculty, and I'm sure it's not a secret anymore, Dr. Hodge, is that our faculty just has a tremendous way of embracing the students on campus. They do a great job of helping them discover their passion for what they want to do in life, and then they help set them on a course to achieve that passion and that goal. For me, I have someone that was very special in that role when I was a student here. Unfortunately, she's not here today, but that's Susan Lipnicki. And she was my advisor when I was here, and she embraced me and helped me move forward with my goals, and I can't thank her enough. So if she's watching somewhere on TV, Susan, I love you. Thank you so much. Miami football. My vision, certainly for our football program, is to take the current success and the momentum that we have, obviously coming off of the MAC championship and the exciting bowl win, and to elevate basically our expectation as a football team that as we move forward, winning championships and being a part of an exciting football team will become a way of life. That's my commitment, and that's one thing that our football team was told the day that I had the chance to visit with them. To me, and I'm sure many of you alumni would agree that, in my opinion, Miami has always been the jewel of the MAC conference. We have what every university seeks. We have the unique blend, in my opinion, of academic excellence with athletic achievement. That is so easy to walk in any high school, anywhere across the country, and people recognize the Miami brand. So it will be easy, as you can imagine, for me to move forward and share the good news about Miami University. I think about the cradle of coaches. Sometimes I'm speechless. But what's been interesting for me over this last maybe 4 or 5 days I've been on campus is as I walk to my office each and every day, there's a hallway that I turn the corridor. And as I move forward down that hallway, on the wall to my right is every head football coach that's been a part of the cradle. And as I walk that hallway, you can imagine, to me, it is so inspiring because I am reminded daily, number one, of my privilege, but number two, of the responsibility that I have inherited as head football coach here at Miami University. A couple things I'd like to just share. Certainly, there are so many people that will be involved in us moving forward as the championship football team we're talking about. One of that group, I'm sure there may be some here today, but certainly back on campus, I am anxious to get with, and that's the student body. And one thing I'd like to share with them is that at Miami, we need you on board, student body. We need you on board. My staff and I, we can't wait, just so you know, to get out and be with you and share the excitement that we have and the passion for this university, because we need you as a student body to help us create the momentum of a true home field advantage. So if you hear me out there today, expect us to embrace you when we get back to campus, and we look forward to a great opportunity to move forward with our student body. To our former Miami football alum, we appreciate, the bar that you set for the Miami football program, and our football players at Miami will learn to embrace our past, and we will always reach out to you and stay connected. To our local Oxford community, our football staff and team will embrace you, and we look forward to serving you in the community and being visible in all that we do. To the great state of Ohio, special state when it comes to football, as many of us know. Our doors will always be open to all of the high schools in Ohio, and we will make our presence felt immediately as we move forward during this time in our recruiting process. To the alumni and fans around the country, as you watch Miami football, you will see a team that plays with passion, discipline, and great expectation. To the media, I look forward to a positive experience. I'll just pause there. But you can count on I will be honest with you, and you will always be welcomed at Miami University. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you all for being here today. I'm going to turn it back over to Mike.
Okay, as I indicated, this is a media press conference, so we have Jim Steffen right down here. Any questions from the media we will take at this point? Paul, right there.
Don, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
We hope, from the media standpoint, to have an equally congenial relationship with you. President Hodge, and you reiterated it, spoke of the Miami experience. I was wondering if you could just elaborate beyond football what the Miami experience was to you. Just describe it a little bit, if you don't mind.
Well, certainly part of what I touched on when I talked about the advisor I had in Susan Lipnicki, she helped me appreciate, and I'm sure many other student athletes at the time, that Miami is certainly much more than just the football experience itself. So she helped bridge that gap and gave us really a good understanding at that time of how we should be a part of the total Miami process. And I think Miami touches people in so many ways, and in the classroom, the faculty, they're tremendous. And I think those are the things I'm just kind of highlighting when I talk about the total experience, because I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that, yes, football is great, and we love football, but there's so much more to Miami. And then you throw into the fact the alumni and the different people that are connected across the country. It makes it just such a special place that I really can't limit myself, but those would be a few of the top things off the top of my head.
Since I got the microphone, can I keep going? Your quarterback at Michigan State, Kirk Cousins, was quoted as saying about you that you were, quote, an example of having confidence no matter what without being cocky. What do you think he meant by that?
Oh, I think each of us coach within our own personality, and mine having played the quarterback position as well, even though I had to transition at Miami and became a receiver. All right, and Coach Reed said if he had to do it all over again, my head coach, we might have changed that, but that's for another time. But what Kurt was probably referring to is the fact, I think, having been a quarterback, you typically are a student of the game, and you're poised in what you do, yet you're passionate, but you basically display that on the field. So I think my thought, especially at the quarterback position, with all the things that you're asking those quarterbacks to do, they need a calming influence when they come off the sideline in the heat of those major battles. And that just happened to be my personality, so I'm sure that's what he was referring to.
Don, welcome. You obviously know the Midwest when you look at your journey here since you left Miami so many years ago. What will be the emphasis of your recruiting as you look at things down the road?
Well, certainly as we move forward, and I mentioned to this just a little bit ago when I talked about the great state of Ohio, I think without question, when you look across the country, the state of Ohio is easily in the top 3, top 4 every year in terms of those states that are so highly recruited because of the product that they have. So our emphasis will be to focus without question as we hit the ground running in Ohio. We will make a big presence there with our staff. And one of the neat things is not only myself, who has recruited Ohio probably ever since I started back in the mid-'80s with Jim Treadwell, but many of the members of our coaching staff also will have had extensive recruiting experience in this great state of Ohio. So we will make Ohio our home state as it should be, and we will serve Ohio in every possible way that we can. And from that standpoint, we will kind of then branch out into the various areas, certainly the connecting states here in the Midwest, and then kind of pick and choose as we continue to put the staff together of maybe some highlighted areas, you know, out of state to recruit as well.
If you can look back when you were an undergrad, can you give us one of your, I don't know, I'm a Miami undergrad and life is great stories?
That might take a while to go through there.
That we can print.
That's a good one already. I'll say this, certainly the biggest impact you get when you come in the door, I think you've heard a little bit of my story, but I was a walk-on at Miami University. And I remember like yesterday, as a walk-on, needless to say, you know, you earn your stripes, let's just say that. And I remember like yesterday when I came in, we were housed in Hepburn Hall, and you're pretty much paired with another walk-on. So here I get there, and the experience I see, I look at all these big guys. You can see my stature is really not that big. And I'm meeting so many players that, as I looked around, the names were like Joe Ferris, and there are so many, but their size, I guess, is what stood out. 6'5", 270. Well, the high school I came from, you never saw guys that size. And so as I got there, that was certainly struck me as, okay, that's going to be a challenge. And then number two, that the second day, after 2 days had begun, my roommate, who was a walk-on, he had enough, so he quit the team. So I'm in there in a single, okay, and at that point you kind of wonder, okay, I think I'm in the right room here, you know, for the right reasons here at Miami. But again, probably because I was, as I mentioned with my mom, an only child, at some point I kind of embraced the fact, hey, this is kind of neat having a single, you know. You can go to sleep when you want to, you can get up and whatever, but the community there, as far as our football team, really embraced me. They didn't hold the fact that I was a walk-on against me, and that was so memorable. Therefore, our walk-ons here will be held in high esteem, and I can't wait to make sure that they feel that same connection that I had when I first got to Miami.
Couple of minutes. We'll bring him back in here, and if there are any